Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Westner, and welcome to week number 1 of Introduction to World Religions. What I'm going to do each week is provide a brief video summary of the key questions, key topics, key ideas that we cover each week, just to give you a different way of understanding them, or maybe highlight some of the important areas that you need to study to be successful in this course. I'm not going to attempt to do a 45-minute lecture or a 2-hour lecture, but just a few minute summary of the important things that we need to talk about each week. So week number 1, what we do is we look at what is religion, basically, and how can we understand it. It's nice to talk about religion and have our theories about individual religions, but really, how do we understand it? What's a responsible way to approach a religion, to figure out what it means, look at the history of it and how people interact with it. To do that, we first of all have to figure out what a religion is, and the textbooks do a really good job of defining that, what is religion, so I'd encourage you to read those sections. But to do that, a couple of approaches. Number 1, we look at their scriptures. Now, if you're familiar with religions, you'll notice that the religions that are typically in the West, so maybe Christianity, Islam, Judaism, that type of thing, have a fairly defined concept of scripture. That is, they have books that are sacred scripture and books that are not. And the books that are in and the books that are out are clearly defined. In other words, we know what Islamic scripture is. Now, on the other hand, Eastern religions, say Buddhism or Hinduism, have a little bit more nebulous concept of what Scripture is, and it's not always so neatly and clearly defined. So what I want you to do is read through the texts and just think on your own, what are the pros and cons of each way? What's a good thing about having a defined Scripture? What's a bad thing, potentially? What's a good thing about having a more of a generic, nebulous concept of Scripture, and what's a bad thing? Just to start to think that way. The other topic I want you to think about, and you'll discover as we go through the course itself, is the internet can be a really good resource and also a really bad resource for studying religion. And rather than have me tell you why that, I want you to think critically as you go through this course and come up with your own reasons and some of the reasons you'll see in the textbooks of why the internet can be a great resource and why it can actually be a hindrance to studying religion. So those are some of the topics that we're going to go through this first week. And I'd encourage you to just, before you get locked into a particular religion that you're interested in, try to step back for a second, look at religion in its entirety, and how can we understand it? What role does Scripture play? What role does the internet play? And then once we have those two figured out, it'll be much easier to go through the successive weeks as we look at particular religions. So I'm glad you're part of this course. I'm looking forward to our time together, and I'm sure we will both learn lots of stuff. Thanks.